What's going on, guys? My name is Sakha, and firing people is the hardest part about entrepreneurship. I don't care if you've done it 100 times or 1,000,000 times, I feel that it doesn't get easier, and it is easily the worst part of being an entrepreneur. My name is Sakha. I own a few insurance agencies here in Las Vegas, Nevada, and I've been a business owner for about 5 years, and I have unfortunately had to let go of dozens of people. And like I said, it's something that doesn't get easier, and it just sucks if we're being honest, right? I know that the moment that I have to let somebody go, it fills me up with anxiety, and then I'm like, man, what are they going to do afterwards? And am I making the right decision? And there's a lot that goes into it, but I'm going to go over my processes, my philosophies and standards on what to do to prevent having to fire people from the beginning, and what to do once you actually make the decision to fire somebody and what that looks like. So if this is your first time tuning in, please smash the like button if you get some value out of this. Subscribe for weekly content where I talk all things entrepreneurship, self-development, and insurance. And hit the notification bell for weekly content. Follow me on all my social media platforms. Let's get into it. So we've all heard the saying, quick to fire, slow to hire, quick to fire. And I believe that. I think that there's a lot of truth to it. I think the more we can take time and do things right from the get-go while bringing people into our companies, the better off we'll be and the less stress that we'll create for ourselves in the long haul. And we'll ultimately be able to, avoid a small part of having to let people go, having to fire people. But first and foremost, I do want to say that no matter what state or country you're in, be sure to consult or make sure that you have an HR attorney, somebody that you can reach out to go over your particular state or country's guidelines before listening to me or anybody else on YouTube, because that's ultimately going to take precedence over everything that we're going to go over today. The first tip that I'm going to give you guys is to make sure that you are documenting everything in your company, or that you're delegating somebody in your company to delegate every single thing. And what do I mean by that? You must document everybody's performance, whether that be tardiness, whether that mean, if they came in 15 minutes late, 30 minutes late, whether that means that they were this shy of reaching their sales goals, or this shy of they were late on turning in a particular assignment or project. You have got to document everything in your company, everything that goes on, because you're going to need the statistics, you're going to need the numbers, you're going to need the facts when it comes down to having to make a decision within your company. I'll use an example. I have a daily log that I'm tracking every time an employee calls in, every time somebody comes in late. I document not just the negative things and the bad things, but also the positive things as well. This person was able to make this much improvement after this particular conversation, so on and so forth. But you are going to need to document everything, because when it comes time to have to write somebody up or give somebody a verbal warning, you're going to have to provide facts. You can't provide, it feels like you come in late all the time. It feels like you've been off of your A game. It feels like you haven't been reaching your sales goals. That's not concrete. You're going to need specifics. And so if you can't provide that in the event of having to write somebody up, then you're going to ultimately lose, because an employee can hold that against you. If you don't have if you're not documenting everything, it can really come back to bite you. So make sure that you have these documented events. I call it a significant event form, and I have it every time I need to write somebody up or give somebody a verbal warning, or ultimately have to terminate somebody. So you're getting ready to hire somebody, and what I would tell you is that the two most important things that you need to do on day one with your new employees is to set expectations from day one. From the interview, from the job offer, expectations need to be set, because if they don't know what the expectations are, you don't want them to be dumbfounded when it comes time to let them go, because you didn't communicate everything that was expected from them from day one. If you have an employee handbook, and if you don't, you should, you need to document, and maybe go over it with your HR attorney. You need to document every single one of your expectations, and you need to go over it with your employees, so that way you're on the same page, that they can't turn around and say, well, you didn't tell me that, or I didn't know that. You have got to go over your employee handbook with every single one of your employees and your expectations of them, and particularly day one. If I hire somebody on day one, I'm telling them one of two I'm telling them this, okay? That, hey, congratulations on getting the job. I'm super excited. I'm honestly stoked that you're here, and I can't wait to get rolling to do some big things with you. At the end of 90 days, your first 3 months, we're going to be sitting across from this table just like this, and we're going to be having one of two conversations. The first conversation will be this: hey, congratulations, you have been a rock star these first 3 months. I'm pumped for what we're about to do for the rest of the year. Congratulations, you've been a rock star these first 3 months. I'm so excited for you, and congratulations for this next chapter. The second conversation is a little bit different. It's quite the contrary. It's, hey, unfortunately, we've been here for 90 days. These were the expectations created on day one, and this is where you happen to be at. We've had multiple conversations, i.e. documenting every single thing that happens in your company. We've had multiple conversations. I've even written you up. I've given you verbal warnings. And unfortunately, this just isn't working out, and we're going to go into a different direction. And so, I thank you for everything, and I wish you the best of luck. Now, one of those two, you need to set that expectation up front, that one of two conversations will be had at the end of your 90-day, 180-day, whatever probation period with your company. And so if you can do that day one, it's going to be a lot softer of a blow, especially if you're giving verbal and written warnings leading up to that point. So make sure that you're not only documenting your process, but set your expectations day one. That tip alone, honestly, by setting expectations and people knowing it up front, has prevented me from even having to fire some people. Some people just know. They know the vibes. Like, they know what's going to go on. They know what's going to happen if they're not able to do X, Y, and Z. And so a lot of people have actually, just by me having this expectation from the get-go, I have ultimately avoided having to fire people because they just know that they're falling short of their commitment or what we went over, and they honestly just leave. They'll quit themselves. And so just by setting those expectations up front, you're going to be doing yourself a huge service. There's this statistic that 70% of people getting fired isn't a surprise to them, and that 70% of people almost expect it to happen. And so they won't expect it to happen unless you set those expectations. So now that we've talked about what to do from the beginning, from the jump, let's talk about what we need to do when it's actually time to fire somebody. So now it's time. Somebody has been under-delivering on their promise and your expectations, and it's time to let them go. Brian Tracy says the best time to let somebody go is the moment that you think about it. And wow, how crazy is that? Every single time that I've ever made the decision, like, I think I need to let this person go, it usually means that you need to let them go. Hence the saying, quick to hire, or slow to hire, quick to fire. And so I just wanted to share that quote because it is so deep and powerful. But let's get into what to do when you actually need to let somebody go. Okay, my first tip in having to let somebody go is to do it in private and to do it in person, okay? It's got to be done, those two ways. You don't want to do it. You don't want to make a scene in front of your other employees. You don't want to do it over text. You don't want to do it over the phone. The best ways to terminate people are to do it in private and in person. Don't deviate from the two. It's just like breaking up with somebody over text or divorcing somebody over a phone call. It's just not good. You're going to leave a sour taste in that employee's mouth. So make sure, again, to do it in private and in person. Remember to be calm, compassionate, and straight to the point, okay? It's not easy, and you can even acknowledge that, but be calm when you're doing this. Meditate if you have to. You guys have no idea how many times I've meditated outside of my offices before coming in and making, taking action on something like this. It's not easy. And so what I will tell you guys is to be calm, compassionate, and straight to the point when you're doing this. Another thing is you want to make sure that you have, your facts. You want to have you've got to make sure that you're doing the written warnings, the verbal warnings leading up to something like this. You're not trying to blindside somebody when it comes to, terminating them. You want to make sure that you have a well-documented process leading up to this point, and that you're able to refer to that with them on the spot. You know, hey, we've discussed on numerous times to work on X, Y, and Z, and unfortunately that hasn't happened. So, you know, I regret to inform you that today's going to be your last day. It's not an easy decision, but you know, it's what's best for me and the company, and also for yourself. You know, which I'll get into another tip as well, because a lot of times this is a move that's going to benefit them as well. Which leads me to my next tip: is to be positive and to, you know, have compassion, because you want it to be beneficial for both parties. And so you're also doing them a favor by cutting them loose and letting them seek what is a good fit for them, right? What skill sets are better suited for them, and you're ultimately enabling them to go and find whatever that is. And so keep it positive, keep it light, but also you want to, you know, be direct and short and sweet. You know, it's not up for discussion. You're not there to debate or debacle, you know, whether or not they're going to stay or not after this. You need to be firm but gentle, and let them know that, you know, that this is going to be their last day, and you want to thank them for everything that they've done up until that point. But unfortunately, you're going to be moving in a different direction, and again, that day is going to be their last day. And lastly, you're going to thank them. You're going to shake their hands and then have them go on their way. And then, you know, if you want, you know, depending on that relationship, you can offer, you know, I might be able to help you get plugged into something else, something a little bit more suitable for you. Just unfortunately, you and I both know that this isn't the right fit for you. And so I want to be courteous of, you know, my operation and my company's goals, and as well as, you know, your future as well. So this is the best move for both of us. And shake hands and let it be. You know what I'm saying? And so the last thing I would say also is, every time I've ever had to let somebody go, I will not make a big deal out of it with, you know, the rest of my team. You know, so as soon as I let somebody go, you know, your employees are usually smart. Your team members are smart. They know what's going on. They see somebody leave your office after you call them in. They grab their stuff, they clean out their desk, and they're on their way. You know, some employees might be upset and say snarky remarks on the way out. Hopefully you can avoid that, but you know, ultimately the goal is to handle it gently and with compassion. That way they don't make a scene and they don't, you know, make it look bad on their way out. And but the last thing I will tell you guys is that when you do have that conversation with the rest of your team, keep it gentle and light as well. Do not go into details. Do not say, you know, this person was let go because of X, Y, and Z. You want to keep it gentle and light. So-and-so is no longer with us. You know, I'm not going to go into too many details as to why, but, you know, just want to give you guys a heads up that today is going to be their last day, and they won't be with us moving forward. And so, again, I don't want there to be chatter or, you know, gossip about it. We're just going to keep moving forward like we always do, guys. So if you guys have any questions, you can ask me. You know, you can ask me directly, and I'll be happy to assist you. But we're not going to go into the reasons why. Just know that they're no longer with us, and we're going to continue moving forward. Okay? And that's how I typically handle it with me and my team after letting somebody go, or even if somebody quits as well. I mean, I handle it the same exact way. Hey, so-and-so is no longer with us. I'm not going to go into details as to why, but you know, but we're just going to keep on moving forward and keep on crushing it, because that's what we're going to do. And so, guys, that's how I typically handle letting somebody go. If you guys have any questions or, you know, or comments, please leave a comment. I would love to engage with you guys and maybe offer any other advice that I can, or with my experiences. And so please go ahead and comment. Comment maybe what works for you guys as well. If you guys are watching this video, then you either have just let somebody go, or you think it's time to let somebody go. And again, it sucks. It's never fun. It's never easy. It is the worst part about being a business owner, but it's absolutely necessary, you know, especially if, you know, goals or requirements are not being met. If the job is not being fulfilled, then it's what we've got to do as business owners and entrepreneurs. So if you guys got some value out of this video, do me a huge favor, smash the like button, subscribe for all future videos where I talk all things entrepreneurship, self-development, and insurance. Follow me on all of my social media platforms. Till next time, peace. Good luck with you guys' finals.